Good evening, friends. It is Thursday, and I hope you have had a lovely day. Today has been just really chill for me, and Keone Mikhail and I were playing this game called Overcooked 2. So, have you ever played Overcooked? If so, raise your hand. It is a teamwork game, and it made me think about teamwork, and I wanted to come on and just share a little exercise or a little activity you could do. I know Keone's like, don't use the word exercise. Nobody likes to think of doing exercises. And I was like, oh. So I have an activity that's actually pretty interesting. So when we are working with somebody, we need teamwork, right? Teamwork to make the dream work. You know what I'm saying? So well, you're playing Overcooked. So if you've never played it, what it is basically you have characters and you have to like chop veggies or meat and then you have to cook it and then you have to serve it and you have to wash the dishes and there's like a lot to do. So there's a lot going on and you have to basically decide like what is your role going to be, what jobs are you going to take on, who's going to do what, and you have to communicate as you're doing it because there's also a timer, right? And orders continue to pop up and there's a timer and you have to complete these things before the end of the timer going out, and then you get like scored on how many orders you got wrong and like how many orders you delivered, and you get little stars and different levels, and it's really fun. Never played it before, first time. Super fun. Love it. And we're like, oh, this is like a communication game. So it's very, very fun. So for you, I would just like to ask you, so journal question or pondering as you go for a walk question, where in your life could you use more teamwork? Like, where do you need to delegate or where do you need to communicate a little bit more? Like, kind of an inside joke with Keone and I is sometimes he'll tell me some of the information, but not the complete information. And I'm like, I need you to complete your communication. I need you to finish the entire thought or the entire sentence or whatever, right? And then sometimes we feel like we're over communicating, but really it's a skill, right? So I know throughout my work, like history of doing behavioral health, or anytime you work with couples or families or any of the things, and you're like, well, what's one of your goals? People, pretty much everyone says, well, we want to learn to communicate. And it's like, well, you're already communicating, so how can we enhance this skill? So here's a really fun activity you can do with a friend or your partner or a child or a parent. What you do is you get a set of Legos. Now you're each going to have a set of the Legos, and I actually learned this activity when I was working as a family support specialist, and it was one of my favorite activities to do with couples or with a parent and a child. It's a really, really cool, and it's simple and it's fun. So what you do is you get two little baggies of Legos or boxes or whatever, just two holders for Legos, and you're going to make sure each set has the exact same Legos. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sit back to back, and you're going to pick one person to be the one who's going to be communicating and the other one who's the follower, the one who's listening to the directions. And the one who is giving the directions is going to basically build something and tell the person what they're doing step by step. And at the end, the goal is to each have the exact same thing built, right? Because communication is how we hear and how we say, right? And so what are we hearing when you're saying that? Oh, I saw it this way, right? So it's very, very interesting. And it gives you that, like, I can totally see why we're miscommunicating sometimes, right? Like maybe you need a little bit more detail, or maybe how you see something is different than how I would see something. And so it shows that like no one's being malicious, it's just a miscommunication. So I wanted to offer that to you in case you want to, just practice communicating or kind of zoom in on where you could enhance your own communication skills and be like, oh, I might need to be able to clarify more, or I've noticed like I get really frustrated if somebody asks me a question to clarify, or it just helps you discover more about yourself and your communication process and how somebody that's really important in your life is hearing you, right? It's a really cool demonstration where you're using like your hearing and you're putting things together and you can just really see what the end results are. And only a few times when I was doing this with people did they end up with the same exact thing. Most of the time they ended up with something maybe kind of close, but it wasn't the same. And it was like, oh, it just kind of activates more compassion and understanding and patience and reminds you that communication is a skill. So, what do we do with skills? We just practice them and get better at them, right? But sometimes we need insight to see where we can get a little bit better at our communicating. So, yeah, let me know if you try this activity. It's um, it's very insightful. So I'd like to know. And I just hope you have an incredible rest of your night. I just wanted to pop in, short and sweet, share that activity with you, and just say hi to your beautiful faces. So I will talk to you later. Have an incredible rest of your evening or the rest of your day if you're listening to this tomorrow. Okay, bye. Talk to you cuties later.